folks. This is Donald Standeford. I'm a writer, fiction, poetry, essays, biography, autobiography, devotionals, nonfiction books. I can write just about anything. Anyway, I thought maybe this would be a chance for me to give back and help others to be able to start their books. I generally spend 10 hours a day working on my own novels and working on my own books. You can find my stuff at Amazon.com, Donald Standeford, and I'll write that down right here just in case. Anyway, that's out of the way. Today I want to talk about, in my second podcast, I want to talk about how theme interacts and intertwines itself around through the story. How theme does not really have the backbone to hold the story up, but it's like threads that run through the structure of the story and give it cohesiveness, kind of a filler. It fills in the cracks. It draws the whole thing together as if it were strings being flowing through the structure of the story and being kind of cinched when it gets to the end, and which would tighten up the whole structure of the story. And there is also what we call text. Text is the plot of the story. It is the plain words on the page and what they mean. Whereas the theme is the subtext. And you probably heard of this saying that about the tip of the iceberg, and when you see the top of the iceberg, you know that down below, submerged, is probably a lot bigger part of the iceberg than what you're seeing on top, and you can pretty much tell it's going to be there. It's a given, because that's the way icebergs are, and that's the way we are in our everyday life. We have a lot of stuff about our lives, our history, backgrounds, our thoughts, our health, our social life, things that hurt us, skeletons in our closet, good deeds we've done, bad deeds, things we feel regret, or maybe even things that we did that were good that we don't want acknowledgement for one particular reason or another. Some people have the ability to be good friends to others and serve others. Some people are harsh prophets, prophetic types who speak the truth all the time, and they're good warriors. I think everybody actually has worth in this world, no matter who they are. And I think everybody has a right to tell their story at some time in their life. And that's what I'd like to help you do today. I'd like to help you tell your story. I think not only will it help some people who want to write, or who have put off that book forever and would like to start it. It's a good chance to start it. I don't charge anything. Although if you wish, you can make a donation by buying one of my books. Anyway, today I want to talk about not only theme, which is subtext, the hidden meaning underneath the words that kind of create an atmosphere, environment. One that is subtle, generally not really noticed, but it's felt as things resonate with you. And oftentimes, theme will resonate with one person where it won't the other because of past circumstances. Somebody who has been abused might get really offended or sensitive towards a certain type of writing, whereas another person wouldn't bother them at all. One person would get sickened at the thought of shooting a deer. Another person would just consider it a routine. We all have different reactions to the language. So that's subtext. Our attitudes towards subjects, our reactions, all that stuff that when people talk to us, they don't really know that part of us right away, and probably won't know it all, no matter how long we spend with them. But today I want to use this piece that I spent today writing, about 9 or 10 pages. And the reason I didn't write it this time while I was on the camera is because I wanted to show you how to use this program, online program called Pro Writing Aid. It's at prowritingaid.com. And I signed up for it. It's fairly cheap. It really helps you to be able to edit your manuscript. And if you do it right and really get serious, then you won't have to spend as much money having somebody read your manuscript over. It has helped me, and I've spent a lot of thousands of hours writing, and it helps me to be able to pick out my mistakes. Anyway, my main focus in this paper, and I'll start showing you how to correct the words in a minute, is you have the theme, and you have the plot, and you have the character. Those are the main three things about a story that need to be strong, and of course they have subdivisions underneath them. The theme is a subtext, what's hidden beneath. The text is the plain out, what it's saying, exactly what it's saying. It doesn't mean any more than what it says, it doesn't mean any less, it just means plain out what it says. And then you have the third wheel to this, which stabilizes everything, and that's called context. It is also called setting or character. Why do we use setting and character to get a contextual view or a background for our characters, an atmosphere for them to reside in? Because there's a lot of ways you can interpret different phrases, dialogue, actions. If you're in one setting, or what they call a milieu, then it means a whole lot different, even simple actions, than it might mean in another place. Like if you're in prison and you ask for a cigarette from another inmate, that would mean a totally different thing than if you were at home and asked for a cigarette from your friend or brother or somebody like that. Whole different meaning. So theme interaction intertwines itself through a good story, and it flavors the story. Plot solidifies a well-written narrative. Plot is like a structure. It doesn't really have any energy of its own. Not even probably as much as theme does. Because it is just made like a harness on a horse. It's not going to make the horse stronger, and it's not going to make the horse go any faster, but it's going to rein it in and make sure that the horse conforms to certain mannerisms while it holds the cart or whatever it's doing. That's what plot is. Plot, there's only, I've heard, less than 30 plots that anyone has ever used. Of course, there are variations of them, but basically there's less than 30 plots you have to choose from. So if you've only got plot and theme to go by, neither one of them really have much muscle. The theme has a little bit more energy, but even it is kind of weak. And there's it's always said that a 3-part thread rope is not easily broken. So it's easier to stabilize yourself if you have a third leg for the stool or a third wheel to ride a bike with when you're first learning. Stability usually comes with the third point. So if we have the text, and through the text resonates the subtext thing, then what is that third thing that is going to help us to bind all that together? Like I said, the plot is a construct and it's severely limited. A lot of people will take an exciting plot and maybe they saw the same type of thing on the show, bang bang, shoot 'em up, kill 'em, dead, bury 'em, and they'll wonder why in the world it doesn't really sound that good compared to the way it did, when someone else wrote it. And the thing about that is you have to have character in a story if you want to make it interesting, because people don't care about shooting up buildings and even shooting up other people unless they care about the characters that are participating. Either they have a deep respect for them, or they feel sorry for them, they connect with them some way. Maybe a soldier understands a soldier in a movie. You've got to have character, otherwise you don't have any motivation, you don't have any energy in the story. You can have plot and theme, and what you'll have is theme, subtext, which has a weak energy. It's good enough to flavor the work, but it doesn't have the spine to hold it up. It doesn't have the energy to really affect people. And then you have the text, which is the plot. The plots are structured. You usually have an opening scene. The opening scene introduces things, and then you go into the rest of Act 1, where you're introducing your characters, you're setting, you're basically exploring the old world of your character, the world that is normal, their normal world. And then it picks up after a while, about maybe a third of the way through, and something happens that kicks the character into gear, and that's called the inciting incident. And by the end of Act 1, you have a big scene, usually called Plot Point 1, where everything kind of culminates. And going from Act 1 to Act 2 is sort of like going through a door. You leave the old world behind and step into a different, newer world. Your character is more resigned and more aggressive towards the goal, whereas during Act 1 he was usually resentful and dragged his feet about whether he or she should go forward or not. But by the time Act 2 rolls around and the character goes through the door and into the new world, never to be able to see the old world again,